Hello YouTube. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome. This is the Knitting Attorney Podcast, episode 18, I believe.
I think so.
And as you can see, I have a special guest.
Hi!
This is Jan Meat. She's not a knitter.
Nor an attorney.
But she's my best friend and she's here to visit. So she's going to be helping me out with my episode today. So I guess to kick it off, we have a WIP to share.
Completed.
FO to share.
Yes.
And
ta-da!
This is the Stratcona sweater by, what is it? Goodnight, from Goodnight Day. Yeah, I knitted this out of Lion Brand's Woolies Thick and Quick. And it was in the shade Barley. And this took me like literally 2 days to knit, and this was a gift.
Yes.
To my lovely girl here.
I love this color. I feel like a warm, cozy barley porridge. And I have to say, especially you knitting for someone a different size as you, and it's so flattering, that's pretty impressive.
I think that's sort of what I love about that pattern and all the patterns in that book is that, like, even though it's like a fairly limited size range, I feel like they are actually like really flattering, especially for like such a chunky knit, because I hear people saying that really chunky knits can be sort of unflattering, especially if you're like bigger than teeny tiny.
Yeah, for me especially, I've noticed.
But I think the way the like raglan shaping and the way it kind of like curves in at the hem, I think it just kind of creates like a really like harmonious shape.
Yeah, and especially like how it's a little bit cropped as well. I think that helps with minimizing the chunkiness. I also love the sleeve shape. I've been trying to showcase it, but I don't know what this is called. I don't know the terminology, but I like it. I like this puffiness here.
I did actually make a modification on the sleeve because in that book there's like a bunch of different sweater patterns and they all like have the same basic like stitch count, and so I actually used this numbers and like decrease pattern from one of the other sweaters, which I don't remember, but I'll put in the description box down below.
Yeah, make sure to check that out.
Yes. And follow me on social media. By the way, I opened up a POSHMARK, so
yes, go check it out. She has such lovely pieces. It's worth a visit.
Yeah. Or, you know, I'm also just like pricing them at like $5 to $8, a lot of them. So if you want something cheap, but check it out.
Good quality pieces. It's
most of them are from like Target and Forever 21. So I'm not making any promises about the quality of my wares. I'm just saying that they're gonna be cheap. So before we get too off track, let's like actually talk about my knitting.
Yes.
So the first WIP I want to talk about is my Harley sweater, and I have an unfortunate, sad story for you.
No.
So I was working on weaving in the ends, and as I said, it was easy because I have a needle felting pen, and alas, that is no more. I was carrying it in my bag, and the cap came off, and I guess it like, the needle stuck out through my bag and hit the rock hard, solid muscle of my quad and snapped in half, so I guess I'm just too ripped for my needle felting pen because
it seems like it. Yeah.
That is over and done with. So for right now, I am abandoning WIP and moving on to something else until I can soothe my ego enough to go buy another needle felter. So that is, I'm being kind to myself in 2022. So that is out of my WIPs for the moment. And so I decided to just replace it, and thank you.
Yeah.
So I talked about this in my WIPs that I was carrying in from last year with me, and this is my Toto Sweater by Wool and the Gang, and I decided to pick this up as my sort of replacement. So last time I talked about it, I just had the front done, and I had like started the back, and I finished the body.
Woo, yeah.
So,
I think you said you sewed it together.
Yeah,
right?
so I seamed it's knit in flat panels, and I seamed the shoulders together with just a crochet slip stitch, which isn't the neatest type of seaming, I feel like. it's definitely a little bit more visible, but with like mohair like this, I don't like trying to mattress stitch because the yarn ends up getting like tangled through all the stitches and it just makes a mess, and then it's really difficult to get it out if you mess it up. So with mohair, I always just go with the crochet seam. Phone. I've been trying to put it on silent, but I forgot today because we're in a bit of a what do you call it? Chaotic morning here. so yeah, I seamed it at the shoulders, and the way the pattern is written, because it's Wool and the Gang and one of their kits, they do everything knit flat. So they had it written to seam one shoulder and then pick up stitches for the neckline and then kind of seam that with the second shoulder. But I decided to be a rebel and just seam both and do the neckline in the round, which made it a tiny bit easier. I have to say that picking up the stitches, I didn't do the best job, and you can see in some spots where the edges of the stitches are kind of peeking through, but oh well. It's mohair, it doesn't really show that much, and I feel like the lace pattern kind of distracts from
it does
the little issues.
I love the pattern, and also the color is just lovely.
Yeah, the lace pattern is actually like super easy because it's only a 4-row repeat if you count just like the plain purl rows. So really you only have 2 rows of lace knitting, and it's only over a few stitches each repeat, so it's very easy to memorize. So I've had like no problem with kind of cranking this out. So yeah, this is what it's looking like. I ended up picking up quite a few less stitches for the neckline than the pattern said, and I'm not really sure how they expected me to pick up because they asked for like 110 stitches, and there were definitely not 110 places to pick up stitches from, so I don't know what they were thinking, but I think this worked out well. It's not flaring out too much, and it's not too tight, so yeah. So along with that, I have already started one of the sleeves, and this is what this guy is looking like. It's essentially the same thing as the body, but it's gonna be this cute like puffy sleeve, so
that's gonna look so adorable when it's all done.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like really cute for summer, spring.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe not summer. I don't know if it's gonna be too hot for summer,
Yeah.
but like springtime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm picturing it with like one of those like florally like Reformation kind of dresses.
Ooh, yeah, you put the sweater over that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like, if I could afford that stuff, that would be like my dream outfit with this. But
Alright, next one.
next one, yeah.
So this is one of my favorites, actually. I like the yarn.
Yeah.
Speckling.
This is my balloon cardigan by Petite Knit, which I've been talking about, and I promised last week that I would get more done on this sleeve, and I have a few more inches than last time.
Yay!
I've obviously been like really lazy on this one, so not too much to show, but you can kind of get an idea at this point of like what the overall aesthetic is going to be.
Yeah. I love these buttons too, by the way, these clear ones.
Yeah, I got these from Dusty's Vintage Buttons at Rhinebeck.
Oh.
And the speckly yarn is Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles in the shade Poppy. And this one is Ginger's hand-dyed Leading Lady Lace. And I actually just managed to say that without having to stop to think about it.
Wow.
I've only been talking about this project for like probably a couple months now. But yes, I really I was gonna promise that I was gonna work more on this one, but I'm not making any promises. I'm sorry, guys. I will finish this eventually because I do want to wear this for spring.
Yes.
I think this would be this is like one of my contenders for bringing with me to Spain and the UK.
Yes. I think you need to show this off because just the speckling and all the colors,
Yeah.
it needs to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think before we go into the next one, I want to introduce our other special guest here, if he'll cooperate. This is Ron. He's just taking a nap here. Yeah, he's just already down again.
Yep,
Okay.
it's the cutest dog ever.
So my last WIP, this one I actually made decent progress on, is my Boxy Cardigan by Friday Knits. And last time I think I just had the, like, I was just working on the body, and I finished that as much as you can see, and the collar, and oh boy, it's messy. I don't know if it's just this yarn, but it's like everything's just like curling and folding, and it really needs blocking before I can really show you guys what it looks like. But this is Birch Hollow Fibers Phyllis DK in the shade Dryad, and it's, I think, really pretty. This like kind of like sagey, mossy almost green with all these like speckles of like red and blue and some orangey like browns.
Yeah,
it's
some warm toned browns.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
So it's got this like very like, I feel like woodsy natural kind of feel.
Yeah.
And I've started sewing on the buttons, which are these
buttons
gorgeous Victorian brass buttons that I also got from Dusty's Vintage Buttons at Rhinebeck. And if you're ever at an event where they're vending, really like check them out, because they have all sorts of cool vintagey buttons.
Well, it seems like it on this sweater and then the previous one. It
Yeah,
seems like they have some cool finds.
Yeah, and some of them are like, they've got like the more ornate ones, but they also have a lot of like really nice like simple buttons. But yeah, so this is coming along, and what I was going to say is I started on one of the sleeves, and I'm getting a little bit nervous about the amount of yarn I have left. Well, if I can show it, Ron is sitting on it. This is what I have, and I'm only about like a third of the way through one of the sleeves, so getting a tiny bit nervous about that. But if I have to, I might just buy another skein of this yarn and hope that the dye lots kind of match, because I bought this months ago. But I'm really liking just the design of this, though. Like the collar, if it'll cooperate, has this like garter stitch edging, which is also on the hem and is also going to be on the ends of the sleeve, and I feel like it's just something a little bit more interesting and textural than your typical like ribbing.
Yeah, I also like that it kind of like flops a little bit, like it's like not like too stiff.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's like a whole, like everything's just like a like nice like soft knit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like feeling good about this one if I can get around to blocking it, which I might just have to do once I get this sleeve off the needles, because this is a little frustrating when it just does not look like a garment at all.
It looks like a super cropped vest, actually.
Yeah, it does, which is definitely not the style I'm going for. So yeah, hopefully that will shape up. But I'm gonna try to make that like one of my focus whips, although the Toto Sweater has kind of been like taking all of my attention, because it's just kind of easy and addictive, because it's like you do one row and then you're just like, oh, I can just finish this repeat, and then you keep going. But maybe I'll finish that by next week. So yeah, this has been my knitting of the week in a most chaotic fashion.
Yes. We made it work.
So last week I alluded to a sort of like project that wasn't ready to be shown, and I am wearing it. So this is in my like other crafting and clothing related category of stuff. This is a 100% cashmere sweater that I picked up from Plato's Closet in the men's section. And when I got it, it was this like bright kind of red, which is not one of my colors. So I took some of the leftover acid dye from dyeing that silk dress a few weeks back and decided to attempt to dye this black. And I'm not sure how it's showing up on camera, but it is not black yet. It is like a dark, like maroon purple. Like a blackened eggplant.
Yes.
But it's looking somewhat even. This took like 5 rounds of dyeing. I didn't have a pot that was like big enough for it to spread out, so it was getting like splotchy. And then I had to buy one of those like metal like lasagna tins. And so I put it in that with the dye, and like in order to heat it, I had to put it in the oven. So I was like baking a sweater in a lasagna tin. So,
but to be honest, I could not tell that you dyed it. It looks like you bought it as is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with how it's looking right now. I'm definitely going to do another round of dye to, like, try to get this to black, because I've, like, said in the past, like, I had a black cashmere sweater, and that's reaching the end of its life, and so finding this, it was almost like fate. Like, here's your new black cashmere sweater, but you just have to make it black yourself. And, yeah, so far that's been a little bit of a ordeal. But I am loving how, like, oversized, and because this is a men's large, it still has, like, the extra long sleeves that I am loving.
Makes it super cozy.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is my crafting and such for the week. A little bit more of, like, an upbeat, fun episode, I guess.
Yes.
So, yeah. Stay tuned. I'm planning on filming some more, like, additional content, because I think as much as it's nice to talk weekly about my WIPs, I think there's more knitting related stuff I could share.
Definitely.
And I have definitely some like closet clean out stuff coming soon, because I'm actually really in the process of working on that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be some good stuff. So you guys better subscribe.
Yeah,
otherwise
subscribe.
I'll find you. No.
I'm not plugging it. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a little bit different from my usual, but yeah, I will see you next week.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.